It's funny how we believe that in the midst of the chaos of life, the plans we make will have any bearing on what actually happens. For us, it's been a 2-year process getting to the point where we're ready to ship our truck and trailer to Southeast Asia, and the hurdles, they seem to get taller and taller as we get closer and closer to the departure date. The plan was to make a solo trip down I-5 to Long Beach where I'd load up the vehicles in a container and send them east. But the way this trip ended up was a complete surprise and left us wondering, what's next?
Mom's staying back and working, and I'm dropping the 2 young ones off on Grandma and Grandpa in Southern Oregon, and then I'll continue on, drop the truck off in California, hopefully, and then fly back home to Portland. This is kind of the first step, the beginning of our journey is getting the truck on the boat, so I'm excited. And so every time we kind of come through this area, we go to, I don't even know what it's called. I call it the Rice Hill Drive-In. It's just a little old school drive-in with burgers and that kind of thing. I think the first time I stopped here was with my mom way back in the day. So anyways, that's what we're gonna do. Stop in the drive-in, get some food in our bellies. Shut it hard. Push on it.
Dad, are we getting a tasty drink?
Yes. Okay, what do you guys want to eat? Do you want a hamburger, a cheeseburger, grilled cheese? Grilled cheese, hot dog, nachos. We made it to here. You can open the door.
Ah!
I smell something. Oh no, what is this? Why is this green? What the heck? What's that? Looks like my CV axle is leaking. That's not good. Well, we made it, but I'm leaking something. Always something last minute, right? Always something. Anyways, looks like a CV axle or something. Tomorrow, I have to fix the CV axle that's leaking. That's what we saw tonight, so always something. Every time I leave for a big trip, there's always something. So, gotta tear it apart tomorrow and see what's going on. Oh well, we'll do it. Shouldn't take too long. I didn't quite want to be dealing with this today, but found out last night that I have a bad inner axle seal on the driver's side. So that means I get to tear the axle apart and replace that seal, and hopefully that's the last issue we have before we ship out of here, because we are just about ready to head down to Southern California after a quick camp trip with the Oregon Trail boys, and then off to Southeast Asia. So always something. I swear, always something at the very last minute. With the Oregon Trail trip, it was alternator that went out the night before we left, so it's always something. I think it's just a omen of good luck with the last minute issues. I'm gonna call it that anyways. Okay, so we pretty much got the seal in. Everything looks good so far. Got to get the axle slid back in, sucked up tight, and put back together. But pretty painless. I think that was it. Cross my fingers so it doesn't leak anymore. So that's what we're gonna attempt to do, is put it back together. That's what we're gonna do. I'd almost rather be doing this in Asia. I mean, I wouldn't rather have the problem in Asia, but it would be nice to be in the warm sun, enjoying the Thai weather. I think we're good to go. I think we are good to go, my friends. Get this all cleaned up. We're back in business. I am on the road. Kids are with the grandparents, and I am headed out towards Applegate Lake to meet up with the Oregon Trail boys. Have a few days of camping with the boys, which should be good. Could be nice after being cooped up for the last winter. So anyways, yeah, that's what's going on, and here we go.
What's up, people?
I need to put my inverter in because another one broke. So I last minute ordered one to my folks' house, and it got there. That's what I was waiting for it to leave. So that's why we all kind of went at separate times. But now I got to put this bad boy in and get it installed and working. Let's hope it works. It works. Everything's in order. We tested it out, and it's charging, and we're good to go. So, problem solved. Boom.
What are we building, boys?
Sweat
lodge! Oh my gosh! Woohoo! Commence heavy sweating.
Which one? Where's your... So if you couldn't figure it out, we are going into a sweat lodge like we always do whenever we're with Kobe and Chris. So they've built an epic sweat lodge that we're gonna go sweat it out in.
I could walk in a couple pumps of cold air to try to. Yeah? Okay. Ford! Oh, it smells like a zoo! One more. How's that? Alright, I'll do it again in a minute. Yeah, it sounds about right. It's just like, you're literally just jumpers to the moon! Heavy creeping!
That was a sweat lodge. That's what it's all about. It's extreme temperatures from hot to cold. It's Saturday morning, and we had a birthday party for Kobe's brother first, and then they're going to take off today, and we're going to continue on. So we're making some breakfast and shaking down the trailer.
What's up, everybody? Some of you may remember me. For those of you that don't, hello, I'm Kobe. We're out here on the backside of Applegate Lake, which is technically Northern California, a spot that we've been coming for about 12, 13 years. More just like a chill area to go exploring and see if we can get ourselves into trouble. So it's the best kind of trouble to get in is when you're in the woods, lost, you know. So good times. Right on.
It's been a while since Chris, Kobe, and I were all out on the trail together, but it doesn't take long to slip back into that old Oregon Trail groove. We'd cut our teeth in the overland world, blazing new trail over the old footsteps of the pioneers, and we'd be lying if we said there wasn't a day that goes by that we don't think about it. Honestly, it's probably what held us together all these years. And although this time the guys would be hanging back while my family explores Asia, it wouldn't be the same without a send-off from my expedition brothers.
Alright, so we are on the road, and I don't know where we're going, to be honest. None of us have maps or GPS, so we're just gonna kind of wing it, see where we end up, and that's where we'll be. So, my favorite kind of trip. But yeah, excited, fun with rolling with the guys again, and we got a pretty good group of about 7 rigs coming out with us. So, good times, great oldies, like 102.
We're up here kind of towards Whiskey Peak. Pulled off to let Jay and Chris catch up with us after they dropped the trailer, and we heard a snake, a silly little leak. So Sean is new to the exploring, overlanding, I guess you would say. So this is his first little hiccup out on the trail, so we're gonna let him handle it. Welcome to the life. At least it's a pop tire and not like a busted axle or something gnarly, you know what I mean? So, I told you to buy lifting tires before the 10.
Oh, come on now. He got the truck, bro. He's good.
Listen, come on. I mean, we're doing 30 on these roads and these sharp rocks. I mean,
that's true. Do you think it would have been better? Because I aired him down to 30. You didn't want to go lower than that?
Oh yeah, that's probably why you popped your tire. I mean, you're fine. We all learn, right? I mean, I've done the same thing, so don't feel bad. It's just people end up being a little bit like overly concerned about lower tire pressures, and it's not worth the risk of popping a tire. Back in business, huh?
Hey, Coach, you got me? Yeah, I got you. There's some people camped there. Okay, hey, I just want to throw that there. I think we should do that one thing out here today. So let's go camp on the lake bed tonight. What do you think? Back there and just kind of have some fun.
All right, so we didn't really make it very far to very many places. We just kind of ran around the forestry roads and then decided to come back, and we're going to set up in the lake bed. But we came across a bunch of downed madrone, so we decided to cut some up for firewood because that stuff's super dense, burns super hot, and super long. So
A lot of supers in there. But anyways, yeah, gonna head on, get our camp set up, and just kind of chillax for the evening, I believe.
Heads up, Jay.
Yeah.
We spent our last night together on the Applegate lake bed reminiscing about the journeys of our past. For me, this upcoming adventure was a little bittersweet. You see, I'd never been on a long expedition without these guys, and although I'm looking forward to exploring Asia with my family, it wouldn't quite be the same without them. But the weekend couldn't have been better. The weather was perfect, the trails were beautiful, and it felt good having the blessing of the old team as we ship east. But as I was about to figure out, no amount of blessing could have avoided what happened next.
I didn't either.
Well, I think that was just telling us to move. I mean, I didn't see any no camping signs on the lake bed at all.
Or fire. Well, that was it. That was the trip with the boys. I'm headed back actually to Bedford to my parents' house because I never got a confirmation whether or not we're on this boat. So I'm headed back. I'm gonna get everything cleaned up, and then tomorrow we'll either head down to California or back to Portland, I should say. So glad we're taking off, and give me a little time to get everything ready.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think this trip is going to work out the way that I'd planned. I just got back from camping with the Oregon Trail guys, and I went off without a hitch until I got back, and we hadn't got the shipping confirmation yet, so I was going to go back to here, to my parents' house, and get everything cleaned up and ready for shipping. And while I was cleaning up, I realized that some of the floor was a little buckled, and as I started investigating, the water tank is leaking, which is an issue that we've had before, but we thought we got it fixed, and now it's leaking again. I am not sure what that means for this trip. We're now about 5 months delayed, which puts us right in monsoon season, and now we're dealing with the coronavirus, which is a big question mark and unknown, because even if we don't get the coronavirus, there's a good chance that they're going to start shutting down borders, which leaves us stuck in whatever country that we might be in at the time. So I don't know what this means for our trip. Definitely not going to scrap it, that's for sure, because I was ready to get out of here about 4 months ago, so I'm going to have to kind of regroup, and then I'll have a little more info on how we're going to handle this, where we're going to go, and what this trip looks like from here. So definitely not the way we thought we were going to turn out on this trip, but I guess it's better that we figure all this stuff out here than over there. So yeah, until next time, we'll have more info, and happy trails. Hopefully we'll see you out there this summer. In life, sometimes, no matter what you do or how hard you push, things just don't align the way you planned. Through all the ups and downs of trying to make this trip happen, there are two lines of thought that I've heard. The first, and the one I struggle to reject, says, "Man, with all the roadblocks you've hit, maybe someone is trying to tell you to scrap this so something bad doesn't happen." This is kind of a cop-out, and probably the reason why dreams are so rarely achieved. When things get tough, our natural inclination is to find an excuse to avoid it, but I strive for the second way to look at it. Nothing good ever comes easy, and if you want the things in life you achieve, you need to follow a path that few will. I'm far from living in this line of thought, and my natural feeling is much more aligned with the first way to look at it. But even with the delays, weather, and viruses, it's only over when we decide to stop trying. So call it my hard head, lack of wisdom, or just my unrelenting passion, but hell or high water, we will see you guys in Asia.